Hello, welcome back to Firesense Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're continuing on with Suzerain 2.0. So last time out, we signed off on our budget for our term, and basically we shafted the military, but gave everyone else a raise. And then we also signed off on the workers' rights bill. So, let's see. Let's check out the overview here. Alright, law, we have workers' rights reform. Let's see here, in economy, we have increased employee costs as a red thing. Cool. And welfare. Yeah, improved working conditions, which is good. Fantastic. Alright. Cool. Let's check out the newspapers. They're probably going to be just complaining about the workers' rights thing. And yeah, here we go. Whole Sword Post. New law on workers' rights. The Workers' Rights Act has been signed into law by President Rain after the approval of the Grand National Assembly by a majority vote on Monday following a 6-hour debate. Mansoon Lee, who campaigned heavily for the bill, also sought to express his gratitude for the confirmation of the new laws, saying it contained much vital rules and regulations for the workers, backbones of our nation. The new law establishes a minimum wage of 2.5 Ren per hour and sets a weekly maximum of 60 hours of labor. It establishes new rules and regulations for overtime payments and determines that workers will be protected against occupational hazards and be provided humane work conditions. The new laws also establish that migrants or undocumented workers have the same workers' rights as citizens. Cool. At Lockhaven Times, Rain signs workers' rights bill into law. The recently implemented workers' rights bill caused the initial protests against the government to mellow down after the Moorville mine disaster. Chants of anger have turned into solidarity marches. One of the spokespersons for the NETA mining group accused President Rain of acting impulsively with the bill, saying that it puts too much weight on the businesses. After the public announcement, NETA has received hundreds of lawsuits from people around the country. Cool, they probably should be sued. And from the Radical, workers' rights bill signed. In a surprising move, President Rain has decided to do something right for his citizens by signing the Workers' Rights Act into law. This looks like a publicity move after the terrible Moorville mine disaster. The new law establishes a minimum wage and sets a ceiling for the maximum amount of workers on top of new regulations for companies. Mr. Rain's move to give more rights to the workers has been welcomed by many. On the other hand, this may simply be a diversion from the actual real issues of the government. Cool. Can never make the Radical happy. Alright, so let's head to Whole Sword here. So I guess let's start at the top one. Let's go with the budget allocation for law enforcement. I was in my office reading reports from ministries about the current situation of the protests. My next scheduled meeting was about the law enforcement budget with Nia and Lilius. I heard some knocks on the door. Nia entered and took a seat in front of my desk. Lilius was absent. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Lilius will be late. Apparently there's an urgent matter at the Ministry of the Interior she had to attend to. It shouldn't take long. It's a couple of minutes of less Lilius. Great. You wouldn't find many who think otherwise. She laughed. I returned to my reports, and Nia smoothed back an errant strand of hair. There was an awkward silence. Well, while we wait, why don't we have a little chat? This might come off as a little strange, but I'm proud of you. Despite everything, you're actually trying to reform the country. It's we, Nia, not me. I couldn't do any of this by myself, so no, I'm proud of you. Well, thank you. You certainly have a way with words, don't you? I mean, that's how we got elected. Oh, there we go. I shouldn't jump the gun. Me and I wouldn't be president otherwise. She laughed. Fair enough. She leaned forward. How are you really holding up, Anton? Being the president, I mean. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but it's also the best thing I've ever done in my life. I can imagine so much responsibility and so much power at the same time. I want to assist you and the country as best as I can, and to do that I have an idea. We need to eliminate the worst problem we have. Corruption. So, you finally come to the point. What do you really want? Please, can I hold a normal conversation with my president? As Minister of Justice, as you can guess, I have a passion for justice. It's high time old guards and the Supreme Court stop holding the country in the palm of their hands. That's why I want to form a new unit, the Anti-Corruption Police. That's my idea. I mean, that sounds like an excellent idea. I'm glad you agree. I'm still figuring out the details myself right now, but think about the possibilities. Also, one more thing. About Lilius. I wouldn't trust her if I were... She barely finished the sentence before we heard a knock on the door. Nia almost jumped in her chair. Lilius Groff entered the room. I wouldn't say she finished her sentence, but that's okay. Mr. President, yeah. I hope I'm not interrupting your conversation. No, we're just discussing a few things. Nia smiled at Lilius. I am sorry for being late. There's an important matter at the Ministry. The security forces of Burge are arbitrarily not cooperating with my department, creating some minor annoyances. Unfortunately, due to my limited authority in the special zone of Burge, I cannot control their operations. Luckily, they didn't completely botch their tasks and actually uncovered a large network of priests that are recruiting Burgess for the Bluish Freedom Front. Good. Do your best to keep the miscommunication with the governor's forces to a minimum. We need to take the war against terror seriously. Of course. Lilius took the seat next to Nia as she continued talking. Well then, let's get straight in. We'll provide a brief update on the situation of law enforcement. Go ahead. Nia? The Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Court is working in close collaboration with the Ministry of Interior to address protests in the country. I must add that thanks to the hard work of our judiciary, the law enforcement forces assigned by the Ministry are doing the job sufficiently. I would call it a success for our forces on the ground, not due to the judicial branch of our government. Lilius shot Nia a brief withering glance. As expected, the budget increase has boosted morale of the employees and law enforcement agencies. In these dire times, my people and Nia's people are especially delighted. I think you'll be glad to hear the support for you among the forces is an all-time high, Mr. President. And for that, all I will say is, bravo, this was an excellent decision. Agreed. At the Ministry of Justice, we were very happy with the decision as well. The backlog of court cases are dwindling, and we've started to fulfill the needs of the current situation. Certainly a step in the right direction. Thank you. I'm glad you approve. Nia nodded. Of course. Well then, let's move on to what we're actually here for. Due to the budget increase, we can start doing much more as the main branches of security and so on them. However, a decision has to be made about the budget balance between the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Justice. Exactly. When deciding, you must look at the bigger picture. I believe you'll make the right choice to pick the Ministry of Interior. Why should I pick the Ministry of Interior? The Ministry of Interior is a much more significant and important government agency that is in need of the funds, especially during these times, so there are many protests in the country. Good luck prosecuting criminals going through local government laws without enough judges, Lilius. Well then, Nia, why should I pick the Ministry of Justice? Each day, the stacks of legal cases are piling up for judges. Cases for corruption and criminals are delayed due to lack of funds. There seems to be an organization issue, not a funding one. The Interior needs the money more for the police and local governments. Oh, what if I just decide to try to balance the ministry between the balance the budget between the two ministries? Yeah, balancing the budget won't help as much. The current situation clearly demands that a decisive choice be made to benefit the nation. I agree. We need to focus on one ministry to achieve tangible results. Of course, what would make the most sense in the current situation would be to support the much neglected Ministry of Justice that would improve the legal system of Solden. Tell me, Nia, who brings the criminals before the justice? Let me answer. The police force is connected to the Ministry of Interior. Alright, I'm ready to make a decision. Ooh, what'll it be? Lilius and Nia leaned forward. Let's see. I'm going to go with the Ministry of Justice. The funds go to the Ministry of Justice to reduce the court backlog and improve the justice system. Bad decision making. The right choice. It was time the Ministry of Justice got the funds it needs. A brief moment of deliberation passed. Lilius got up from her seat. I must return to the Ministry to implement the necessary changes. Very well. See you soon, Lilius. I need to have a few words with Mr. President. Lilius left the room. Here's my proposal. Corruption has always been a major issue with any government. It is the root of all evil. That's why I'm proposing the formation of the Anti-Corruption Police. Sub-branch of the Ministry of Justice, the ACP, will be given full authority by the Presidency to investigate corrupt government officials and citizens. And this would especially come in handy when dealing with corruption in higher positions. The Supreme Court and oligarchs that meddle in politics are just a few examples. If you accept, this will give our administration the ability to deal with corruption quickly and decisively. Cool beans, sounds good. Form the Anti-Corruption Police. Excellent. I will start the prep work. You're making good decision after good decision there, Mr. President. I'll be in touch. Nia got up and left the room. Fantastic. Alright. So with the Anti-Corruption Police, see if we can put some pressure on the old guard. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't backfire, but we'll see, I guess. Alright, let's see. We got a couple updates over here. So, Codex, Government, saying we form the Anti-Corruption Police over here. Coolio. And in the overview, we got anti-corruption law, increased justice funding, anti-corruption campaign, efficient justice system, and positive judicial personnel. That's all pretty good. Order, also the anti-corruption police. And it looks like none of Lilius's complaints really made a difference. Cool beans. Alright. Let's see, so we've got at least one report here from Suzerain, so let's go check that out first. Let's see. British Freedom Front using schools to recruit and train militants. That sounds cool. The school in Suzerain was discovered to be acting as a hidden facility of the British Freedom Front, where they employed methods of British nationalist propaganda and military training. It is suspected that the BFF has been using rural schools all around Berger to recruit and train students for their cause. These operations are often hidden and occur mainly in areas with the majority British population, where schools opt for using the British language over Sordish. Many of these communities tend to struggle with the Sordish language and become easier targets for the BFF. The situation is concerning as it involves the indoctrination and recruitment of young individuals into a violent and extremist organization. It is recommended that the government take immediate action to prevent the British Freedom Front from using schools as a tool for their recruitment efforts. Cool. Alright, we got 2 newspapers, so let's hit those real quick too. See, from Economists, the recession is growing faster. With double-digit unemployment and plunging economic output, the recession has been a reality for a long time. But if there's any remaining doubt that Sortland is in recession, it's now been removed by an announcement from the Business Council of Sortland. In the announcement, the Council pointed to the unprecedented magnitude of the decline in employment and production and its broad reach across the entire storage economy. The economy shrank by 2.4% in the last month and lost further value against the Arcasian lira. That's fantastic. And from Lockhaven Times, Richter calls President to action. Head of Sortland's main opposition party, People's Freedom and Justice Party, Franz Richter, said President Rain needs to address issues like term limits and electoral threshold if Sortland's democracy, freedoms, and economy were to be developed. Richter also talked about the need for educational reforms and expressed his support for Minister of Education, Ciara Walda. Coolio. That's what we're going to do anyway. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Stop. There we go. Alright. So, I guess let's, go on an evening walk with our wife. It was early evening, still light out, with just a faint nip in the air. Frank was with friends, and Diana was in an art class. Monica and I decided to go out for a walk before dinner. Our favorite place for a stroll was nearby Capitol Park, the largest green space in all of Holsword. Before the children were born, we'd spent many an evening engaged in deep conversation along the riverside promenade. Another favorite path wound through the woods behind the presidential housing complex to a private pond where the children could swim in summer. I was told that Solmsel had it built, the benefits of being president. Monica met me by the door and we put on our coats and hats. I was going to suggest we walk towards Seoul Square, but the guards told me it's been closed for yet another protest. Now, what are they protesting this time? What does it matter? They're two sides of the same coin. Being outside a new university never would have said that. Funny how becoming president changes one's perspective. In any case, where should we go? I'm not sure Capitol Park's a wise idea in this climate either. Yeah, you're right. It's not worth the security risk. Let's stay inside the gates. I agree. Let's go then before the children get home. I informed the guards about our route and we left the house. The guards followed at a discreet distance as we headed towards the walking trail. As we entered the woods, Monica broke the silence. So, how was your day? Paperwork, endless meetings, the usual nightmare. I don't know, I imagine some might find this stimulating. I hope yours was better. Oh, it was fine. I caught up on some reading with the children at school. Just outside the gate, I glimpsed Jonas Krona, the former Minister of Justice, walking towards Capitol Park. I remember that Nia Morgan used to be his vice minister. He didn't seem to notice as he walked by. Jonas had once fought hard and strong against all his judiciary reforms, but after years of the government blocking his every move, he gave up on his ideals and became a part of the administration. What did our ideals really mean if they could be changed so easily? What about the people he idolized? Evelyn also came around for tea. She says hi. She was feeling rather low, though. Apparently she and Peter had a bit of disagreement. Oh, that idiot's in the doghouse again? How'd it happen? Well, apparently Peter had too much whiskey, as usual, and didn't didn't behave. And Evelyn's father was over for dinner yesterday. You know, Peter, what do you think of this? That's Peter, perpetually pickled. Oh, I would talk with him. Good. Evelyn seemed close to tears. Boy, neither of these options is good. We'll go with that one. It seems slightly less bad. Aren't you glad you and I don't have these kinds of quarrels? Monica didn't say anything. We kept walking. You know, Evelyn has been the same since what happened to her at the Holster Post last year. You remember how she got fired for supporting Alfonso? Peter tried everything to get her job back, but it didn't work. Sad day for journalism, free speech, and Sorghum. I completely agree. A sad day indeed. Bad enough by the veterans. I spoke to Janice on the phone. Oh, Janice, right. You remember my friend from university? We were in the social literature class together? A few years younger than me, red hair, scar on her forehead. We had dinner with her and her husband once or twice. Neither the name nor the description ring a bell. Right, that Janice. Yeah, obviously. Anyway, she's been working as an executive assistant at the Violet Pictures film studio. She recently became pregnant and asked her boss for paid maternity leave, but guess what? She was fired for it. They're asking for maternity leave? It's terrible. I know, I was beside myself when she told me that's not all. They immediately replaced her with a younger, less experienced man, the son of an executive, no less. Nepotism, eh? They must have wanted him in there all along. It doesn't justify what they did to her. This happens. Another friend works for television stations hiring secretaries, so I connected the two of them. Yeah, that doesn't solve the deeper problem, though. Exactly, I knew you'd be on the same page. Women in this country are still seen as wives, mothers first, human beings second. They're harassed at work, underpaid, blocked from positions of power, and those are the lucky ones. In fact, there's still places in this country where little girls like Gianna are denied the right to an education. Yes, and I'll do what I can to change that. And it can't just be you. These little girls and people like Janice need someone to speak on behalf, a role model, a successful woman. We had reached the pond at the end of the trail. The park bench overlooked the water. Monica gestured to it, and we sat down. Which brings me to my point. I know that the mayor of Monica, Curtin Less, will be delivering a speech at the annual opening of the Benford Festival. My wish is to take his place and deliver the speech instead. Les was one of Sorlin's most influential politicians. He had started his career in Benfield before rising to power in America. Benfield's current mayor personally invited him to make the opening speech. And replacing him with Monica would likely anger him. Probably not enough to cause a huge incident, but enough that he might use his influence over the Conservatives to block me in the Assembly. I want to base the speech on women's rights at Sorlin on the oppression and discrimination we face every day on the basis of our sex alone. I want to voice her, and this festival's time to do it. I just need your blessings as my husband and the president of Sorlin. Remember my time with the Social League of Women in University? You supported me then. I'm asking you to support me now. Monica's eyes were blazing with fire I hadn't seen since we were students. She wanted this badly. But I had to be careful with my promises. Oh boy, this is a tricky one. But I don't think we can afford to lose the support there, so let's try this. Does it have to be at the festival? Why can't you make your speech another time? It has to be now. Thousands go to this festival, millions watch the speeches home. Sorlin's women can't wait any longer. Boy, I don't want to have to do this, but absolutely not. I have the question. I don't understand. Isn't this something you care about as well? It's not the right time. Sorlin's facing too much political strife. We'll have to deal with women's rights later. What little trouble this causes in the short term is nothing compared to the lasting positive change it'll bring, not just for women, but for all of Sorlin. I don't think so. Monica was silent for a while. She finally spoke with a chill in her voice. If that's truly how you feel, so be it. We walked home, neither of us looking at the other. Yeah, I don't really want to do that, but I don't think we can piss off Curtin Less right now. We're kind of just barely hanging on as is right now. Alright, wow, we got a ton of newspapers. And we got something from the overview here. Ooh, unruly generals. That's not good. And nationwide peaceful protests. Alright, well, at least that's an update. Or an upgrade, I guess. Alright, let's check the reports first, and we'll hit the newspapers. So we've got 4 reports. The first up from Lockhaven, Gasom resumes hiring. Gasom, Lockhaven's local energy giant, resumed its hiring operations after several months of pause. The company recently welcomed 100 new employees to its workforce, signaling a potential recovery phase after an extended hiring freeze. With the latest addition, Gasom looks set to rejuvenate its operations and drive towards more robust performance in the upcoming months. Cool. And from Deer, BFF bombs police station. In a treacherous attack, the BFF has bombed a police station in Deer. Initial casualties are reported: 3 officers dead and 22 injured. Perpetrators have escaped into the Goomer Mountains near Suzerain, and a search has started to bring them to justice. The border guard has been notified of the attackers in case they try to flee to Valen. The Workers' Party of Bludia condemned the incident. And from Holsor, the General Staff condemns the administration. The General Staff convened at Camp Strongarm. A session much longer than usual concluded with a disastrous military analysis of Sordlin's field capabilities. Chief of the Armed Forces Vulcan Kruger made a public press statement condemning the administration and its efforts to weaken the most important branch of the government, the military. All staff generals co-signed a letter of condemnation to the Reign administration. And from Deer, Golkindist violence in Deer. There have been several incidents of religious violence committed by Blutish Golkindists in Deer. The attacks targeted members of other religious groups, resulting in injuries and property damage. The situation is concerning and warrants immediate attention from law enforcement and government officials. It is recommended that measures be taken to prevent future incidents and to address the root causes of the violence. It sounds like the root cause of violence is religion, but we're not going to try to do anything with that. That's a bad idea. Alright, that's 7 newspapers here. First one is right about the same thing again. Golkinist violence in Sordlin. Several incidents of religious violence have occurred in Deer recently, with perpetrators identified as Golkindists, which almost exclusively applies to the people who have Blutish descent. This comes as no surprise to many, as the Blutish population has long been associated with rebellion and separatist movements. With their fanaticism around the fringe religion on the increase, the government must take a strong stance against this growing threat to our national security. It is clear that the Blutish people have a history of violent tendencies, and the rise of extremist Golkinists only serves to reinforce this fact. This is a troubling trend in the region, especially if the Golkinist revolution in nearby Nourished Republic of Derdia surely has a hand in the spread of Golkinism in Eastern Marcopa. The recent attacks in Sordland have targeted innocent civilians and caused a great deal of harm despite its small scale. We must not allow this violence to take root in Bergia, and it is imperative the government takes swift and decisive action to address the situation. That article sounded more racist than anything, but that's alright. From The Economist, a game changer? News of international interest in Gasom continues to spread, as reports confirm that Naraka and Kina, alongside Galmland, are also considering significant investments. This potential injection of foreign capital could drastically alter the financial landscape of the struggling storage energy giant, promising a potential turnaround. As proponents of free market economics, we must welcome such investments as opportunities rather than threats. Alright, we got 2 up here from Lockhaven Times. Explosion Deer, 3 killed, 22 wounded. A bomb attack on a police station in Deer has killed 3 officers and injured 22 others, officials say. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack. The police of Deer said militants from the Blutish Freedom Front, or BFF, were likely behind the attack, and reported that several militants also fired at the officers as they tried to escape the fires of the explosion in the treacherously pre-planned ambush. There has been a wave of unrest in Sordland for the last couple of months. These attacks seem to suggest that the racial tensions in Bergia have also increased to very dangerous levels, which raises questions about how the situation should be handled. The Workers' Party of Bludia has condemned the incident, adding that the BFF does not reflect the views or the culture of the Blutish people. Akazi has called on both sides to avoid violence, but stressed that Sordland has the right to defend itself against attacks by Blutish rebels. And detonation. Sordland in a tough spot. Current public reports from the Ministry of Economy are pointing to deep underlying problems with Sordland's economical standing: debts. It appears that the current ventures to get out of recession have put a considerable dent in their reserves. Although the comments from the administration state that the situation is only temporary, that remains to be seen. Our economic advisors have commented on the matter, saying that the current stance of this administration is hiding the extent of the debt. This, of course, brings up the question, is Sordland turning into a debt nation? Cool, yeah. So we got 3 here from Geopolitico. I'll definitely look new, at least these first 2 anyway. So we got progress on Iotake plan boosts Nibia and surrounding nations. The ambitious Iyotake plan, led by the astute Vice Secretary Chairman Tokezitli Iyotake, we'll go with that, continues its march in Nibia and has expanded its influence into neighboring nations such as Zerlin, East Dorgux, and Samia, and beyond. Despite facing a myriad of controversies and the inherent challenges of implementing vast socioeconomic transformations, CSP's agenda is undeniably poised to determine Rika's trajectory. The unfolding dynamics present a pressing query. How will the ATO counter such an extensive geopolitical maneuver? The chessboard is set, the game's stakes are high, potentially defining the ideological alignment of Rika for decades to come. And Smolak condemns Arkazian soldiers of Lesbia. Baklovitz Wayland. Wazak President Viktor Smolak on Thursday criticized the Lesbian government bringing Arkazian soldiers close to the borders of Aelan. Last month, Prime Minister Alvarez and President Walker agreed on the construction of several military bases in Lesbia that would station ATO soldiers. With the arrival of the first Arkazian soldiers to Lesbia this week, Valen's stance has become increasingly hostile. In a speech on Thursday, Smolak said President Walker succeeded in spreading Arkazian imperialism to eastern Maricopa, which will have consequences for every one of us in the region. The ATO is clearly expanding its influence in our region using Lesbia. We must be careful, said President Smolak, warning the neighboring countries of Agnolia and Sorlin to be prepared for future crises. And last up here, Chancellor denounces Arkazian base on Ravnos Island. Chancellor Hegel of Volksland publicly censured Arkazia's recent move to establish a military base on Ravnos Island during a press conference on Wednesday. Labeling the act as a provocative gesture, Hegel argued that this development not only undermines regional peace and stability, but also poses a direct threat to Volksland's national security. Unyielding in his condemnation, Hegel stressed, Volksland is not a country to be bullied so easily. We and the entire CSP coalition will correspond in force if Arkazi does not withdraw from the island. The escalating tension casts a shadow over the geopolitical dynamics of the region as the international community awaits Arkazi's response. Cool beans. That was a lot of stuff there. Alright. Well, let's head back to Holstern here for a regional investment decision. Gus Manger and Simon Hull have prepared an extensive regional investment package to revitalize one of the top 3 economically fragile regions by boosting the municipality budgets, providing large sums of business grants, and giving cheap loans to companies with liquidity problems. The proposal can be implemented in one of the following regions: Bergia, Lauren, Island, or not. I mean, we're pretty broke here, so we don't have the money to invest right now. So we're just not going to invest right now. Fantastic. Alright, looks like we got a couple things popping up over here in Lockhaven and Gelsord. But I think at the moment that feels like as good a place as any to call for today. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see y'all next time.